Hi, friends. Today we're going to do a picture book walk. That means when you go through a book, you look at the pictures and you talk about it. Miss Alaire is not going to be reading the actual words or the actual text. We're going to use our eagle eyes, look at the illustrations, and talk about what we see. The reason we're doing that today is because this book has so much information in it. It would take a long, long, long time to read all the text. So we're going to look at the pictures and talk about the most important parts in this book, okay? Now, all month long, we've been talking about the pilgrims that came from England. Remember, they sailed across the ocean on the Mayflower and they bumped into America at Plymouth Rock. Remember that? This is a picture of the pilgrims, and you can see the clothing that they wore. We've talked about this before. The pilgrims wore dark clothing, usually black or brown, not a lot of coloring in it. Here's a picture of the Mayflower. That's the ship they sailed across the ocean on. We've talked about these things a lot during our group time and during Zoom, but it's important to remember these things. Here's an illustration showing the pilgrims bumping into to Plymouth Rock. You see they're in their boat. Now there's their big ship back there. There's the Mayflower. But here's a little boat that they used to come up onto the land. Do you remember what season it was when they arrived? That's right, winter. It was very, very cold. There's their houses that they started to build. Now, do you remember something, friends? When the pilgrims arrived, did they have enough food? No. Remember, we talked about that. A lot of them got sick. It was not a good time. But then they made friends with somebody. Do you remember who? That's right, the Native Americans or Indians. Those were the people that were already here in America, and they helped the pilgrims. They showed them how to plant corn. Do you see the little boy here? He's got a bowl, and there's the Native American or the Indian, and they're planting seeds. The pilgrims showed some things to the Indians as well. They shared things. They shared their knowledge of firearms, and the Indians shared their bow and arrows, different ways that people used to hunt for food. So remember, the pilgrims and the Indians were friends. Remember that? They helped each other. This is a nice illustration of a pilgrim and a Native American or an Indian holding hands, sorry. And even though they were different, even though they looked different, they wore different clothing, maybe they did things a little differently, they were good friends. Do you remember they had that feast with all the food, turkey, berries, and bread, all sorts of different food? They came together and they shared, and they had that first Thanksgiving dinner. Remember we talked about that? Now, do we still have Thanksgiving now? Even though the Pilgrims and the Indians, that first story, that really happened. It was real, but it was a long time ago. Yes, we still have Thanksgiving. We still decorate our houses for fall with pumpkins and fall colors. And some of us get together and have Thanksgiving feast or Thanksgiving dinner with family. You might decorate your house maybe with turkeys. There's some pilgrim pictures, things that make us think about Thanksgiving and fall. Do you remember the word for this? We've talked about this in our group time. It's a cornucopia. Say cornucopia. All that means it's a special basket full of fruits and vegetables. Cornucopia. You guys did really well, by the way, learning that very big word. Here's a family having a Thanksgiving dinner. I see turkey, cranberry sauce, maybe some yams and vegetables. Everybody has different foods at Thanksgiving. Some of our friends have turkeys, some have ham, some have different foods. A lot of friends have pumpkin pie, and on Thanksgiving Day, a lot of friends play football or watch the football games on TV. You might also see a parade on TV. Here's a picture of a parade. That's where people wear costumes and there's these big floats and balloons, and people march down the street or drive down the street. There's marching bands. Parades are a lot of fun to watch. Those are some of the things, friends, that we think about or that we do or that we see on Thanksgiving.